Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Let's kick off with the last one. Thank you very much for those of you who have been with us all the way through. Well done we'll see if we can keep you awake for the next half an hour or so. We're just going to go through mass change. Now, a lot of people will have done a lot of these mass change things, but I think it's just a good idea to go through and bring everybody up to speed with at least some of the mass change features that we've got. And I thought the best way to approach this was to, if that's going to move for me, there, lovely, was to say that obviously once you set up and get your event or campaign or your project organized, then as sure as eggs is eggs, either the government will come out with a new minimum wage or the client will change the ball game and move the goalposts. They will say something like, oh, can you make it from 8:30 till 5, or can you add these new questions or something? And you want to be responsive, and we want to make sure that it's easy for you to be responsive to your customers and to be able to change your service flexibly. But of course, there's an awful lot of sophistication in the system, and there has to be, because if you get it set up right, you can press a button and the whole project is productive and efficient. Without a little bit of complexity in setting it up, then clearly it's not going to bring the productivity and the efficiency that's going to help your company. So the reason we've put mass change in is because once you've set it up, as sure as eggs is eggs, you're going to want to change it. So with all of the places where projects show, the staff portal, the client portal, the various different views in the organization, luckily we have one single database to change. And so the code that we've done for changes, we really have to just concentrate on having a reasonable user interface, making it easy to find and easy to do. And I'm not sure how well we've done on that. It's user interface is constantly an area that we're struggling with as we add more and more packages. But as you know, we're revolutionizing the user interface all the time. But the most important thing is to make it stable and to make it work at volume. And I would say the people on the call now have fairly high volumes, and we've managed to get rid of, for most of the people on the call, we've got rid of quite a few places where it kind of grinds slowly, and we're working on a lot more. But there are some people who are not on this call where they have 10 times the volumes, and bigger servers and smarter software between them are starting to fix those. So there's some people right out on the leading edge who are doing thousands and thousands of shift changes and replications, and sometimes tens and even more than that amount of changes and payroll processing. So in addition to our constant evolution with security and cybersecurity, performance as our customers grow is just such an important part of the game for us to remain competitive and to keep your business. So before we start on the scenarios, I just wanted to just exclude a couple of places where you probably don't need mass change. If somebody changes the campaign name, the campaign account manager, the questionnaire on the campaign, for the most part, you can do that at an event level. You literally change the name of the event, and that's all pretty straightforward. Where the matter gets a bit more complex is when you need to change certain shifts, and the ones that are on Sundays now start at 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, and the roles change because the government has changed the minimum wage or something. Likewise, if you're just copying a project, you can just go to copy project, and you can decide whether you're going to copy with or without the people. One of the best ones we did with this was a company who did a big Freshers Week project where they went to, I think, maybe 200 universities at the time and introduced a new cell phone contract to students. And those guys then won that project again the following September. And to be frank, it was a pain in the neck to put the first one together because they wanted certain different people to go to different days or different Fresher Fairs. Every university had a different Fresher Fair day. So it was very difficult to use any sort of formulaic replication. And we ended up kind of copying a spreadsheet onto the system. But once we'd done that, we were able to just copy it for the following year to the same universities which had their freshers' fairs, roughly the same kind of dates, and just adjust it. Thirdly, if you're just adding a couple of things, just type them in, or if it's easier, just use session management, and I will show you that. And then there's a bunch of edge cases which we'll have a look at later. So let's jump into the scenarios where mass change will really help us save work and effort. These are real customer situations that come up all the time. So the first one is, here's a bunch of sites that we want you to go and collect data at. And it could be health and safety surveys, it could be field marketing surveys, it could be we want guards to go to all of these sites nightly. Whatever it is, there is a way to be able to import 200 sites for a project, to mark them as that project, and to be able to then replicate the shift that you've created for one site, or the session that you've created, or the call or the report you've created for one site, for all of those. Very often, because you've done a good job, you'll win a phase 2 and a phase 3, and the client will want to change the site somewhat. Sometimes the sites don't exist. Sometimes they just didn't get very good results from all of the Tesco stores that didn't have a cafe or had a small car park or something, so they exclude them next time. There's all sorts of reasons why the client would want to do that. Don't forget also that you, as you start to import more and more sites, will have a lot of expertise that is valuable to clients. For example, most of our customers, if a client comes to them and says, we would like all of this survey done at all of these PC worlds, many of our clients can say, well, you do realize that 15 of those PC worlds no longer exist, and this PC world here is a double whoople poople PC world and stuff. So there's, as you start to import this site data and find that your field marketing agent or your guard comes back and says, I've gone to that industrial estate and it's not even at that address, but they've helped me, they've told me it's around the corner, or it went bust 2 years ago, didn't we know that? That's really important market intelligence that gives you a value to your clients, crazy as it sounds. And this happens all the time with property databases. I had lunch with an old school friend of mine, and he took over a huge contract, FM contract, to look after the buildings of a big, well-known charity. And they gave him a list of 900 locations. And within the first year, he found he had to go back to them, and they kept on finding new locations. And he ended up with 1,250 locations that he discovered, just new offices that just weren't even on their database. And each of these locations is worth, on average, a $250,000 in property values. So it's made a big difference to that charity, even though they're a huge nationwide charity. So don't underestimate the value that you have in your company by knowing these stores. It's well worth, it pays you back in spades for the pain in the neck it is to import them. But you can then replicate all the work to each of those locations. Lovely one. You did a really good job at stewarding last Saturday. We'd like you to send another 30 because one of our customers has pulled out. Sorry, we just discovered we need to change the hours your people are doing, and in these 123 stores, they should be going from X to Y instead of whatever it was before. For one reason or another, you may want to change the amount of money from, let's say, a day rate to an hourly rate, or you might want to change the hourly rate from £10 an hour to £15 an hour or something to get more staff to come. There are all sorts of reasons why you might want to change the money, the roll times, the booking times, the hours, even the name of the role, as this one here is concerned. I've genuinely had a situation where somebody was not allowed to call the people that were handing out leaflets and were dressed as fairies, and they had to call them, I think there were also some fairies and some bumblebees because of the branding of this product, and they were all in stations, and somebody complained, so they called them something. I know they weren't allowed to be called nymphs. That's right. It was anyway. The company was very well equipped using our system to be able to just change the names of these people that are handing stuff out to something else, the roles to something else. So there's all kinds of different ways that you might change something en masse, or that you might want to replicate. Let's jump straight into a couple of examples. So if I just go and bring up the demo system, which I have just here, you may remember that I've got 3 or 4 different examples here of events. some of which will be close to the events and campaigns and projects or whatever vocabulary you use. Let's take this one first. This is nice and simple. This is a job we're doing with one person in Liverpool to hand out leaflets. It could be any kind of job, but let's say they actually like what you've done and they want you to do another 3 or 4. So what you can do is you can go to session management in here. So you can look at the sessions that you have and you can say, I would actually like to replicate this one. And let's say they've asked you to do a few more roles. So in here, you can go to session management and you can say, I want to replicate that one, or maybe this one, whatever it is. And you can say, select copy dates. And I want to do, I've already gone up to the end of September, I believe. So I now want to do the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and copy those selected dates. And then that will, when we refresh this report here, you can see that now we've got more dates there. Now I've also selected that on each of these, I've selected that I was going to keep Mr. Alex Dacre on as the member of staff to do that. I would have perhaps talked to him, but you can say, I actually don't want to move all those things. So you can say, I don't want to keep all the people on the waiting lists and the people who, this thing here, if I untick that, then it wouldn't have taken Alan Dacre across. And obviously, if I didn't take the address across, I could have applied it to other addresses. I may also not want to use qualifications. As you know, whenever you create a shift, you can say you have to have certain you must be L'Oreal trained to work on this counter at Heathrow in the duty free or whatever. So that's the simple session replication, and people like using that. But you can also do much, much bigger session replications. So, for example, let's say we wanted to apply that to a week of that to many weeks. So what you can do is you can go back into the main event, and in other actions, along with all the other good stuff, you'll see session replication, event booking, event overview, and mass change. But if you go to a specific shift, like this one here, you'll find some other jewels. So that shift there, go on, new blue shoes, you can do it. I think it must have come up somewhere else. There we are. In that shift there, what we find in other actions is that we can do date replication and site replication. So first of all, I'll do date replication. Now, in date replication, what you do is you would, pick that session, go to date replication, and you'd say, I want to do that between these dates. So let's say, what did we get up to? We got up to the 5th of the 10th. So let's say we wanted to go from the 6th and I'm just going to click on the calendar because I'm lazy now. Let's say we wanted to go up to Christmas and December 24th, let's say, Christmas Eve, but we only want to do Saturdays, Fridays, and yeah, just Saturdays and Fridays. So we can now get all the dates, and we're going to say we're going to do all of those guys. We're going to copy the staff booking status and any lists like provisional lists. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to copy those so that Alex Dacre is going to be booked on all of those. Later on, if he said, oh, by the way, I'm on holiday on such and such a day, it won't do it. And we can go back and replace him with somebody else for that particular day that he's not in. But you can see how that saves a lot of time and effort. Now, bear in mind the work that this is doing. The reason that it's slow is it's checking to see if there's any clashes. It's checking to see if you can book Alex Dacre on that day. It's checking the roles, setting up the shifts, extending the whole contract. So that's why it takes a bit of time and work, because it's going to make sure that there's no mess ups. So now if I click on this again, whoops, wrong one. Now you can see it's done all of those, and it's done whatever days I said up until Christmas as well. All very good. So now if we go back to that event, let's pick this shift here for the 30th of the 9th tomorrow. And let's say we wanted to, because the details for that shift, let's say we wanted to do it on lots of different locations. So let's say you've done a really great job in Liverpool. We would now like you to do, please, some other venue. So what we can do is we can copy this session. So we can just say in other actions, session management, we can take this or some other session. So let's take the, what one did we say, the 30th of the, yeah, let's say that one there. And we can copy that, select and copy that to other dates. So we can say, I probably should have taken Alex Dacre off actually. So I'm just going to go back and say not staff. So we're not going to take him and we're not going to take those ones there. So we're going to keep the qualifications though, and we're going to keep the same pay rates and roles and so on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to select copy dates, and we're going to say copy selected dates. Here we go. And we're going to go in October. We want, let's say, every Friday and Saturday in October. Actually, what am I talking about? I'm just going to go to the first, Friday the 1st, because I just want to change the venue for one, and then I will replicate that. So I'm just going to go for the 1st, Friday the 1st, and copy that date. Because obviously I couldn't copy it with Alex still on there. So now I should have, when I refresh this, I should have 2 on the 1st. So where has it gone? Did I copy it? I think I copied it. Save changes. Okay, where's the 1st of October gone? There should be 2 on the 1st, I think. So I copied the 30th. I must have copied it to the 1st. Maybe I didn't have one on the 2nd in the first place. So we now change this one here. Let me just check. Did we have one on the 1st? Have I just not copied it? 15, 16. Yeah, we already have one on the 1st. So maybe if I just refresh this now. Filter calls. Do I have 2 on the 1st? No, I don't. I must have missed out to copy. So let me just go and get that again. So let's just copy the 1st this time. Oh, no, there are 2 firsts now. That's great. So this one here, we need to go in here and we need to change the venue. So I'm going to choose a venue. And let's choose another one. So I know that there is, I know, Derby. Have we got anywhere in Derby? We should have a shop in Derby. We've imported enough demo data in here. Yeah. Oh, look, CFM stores. There we are. That well-known retail brand. So here we go. There's our Derby CFM store. So I now save that. And there'll be a save button at the top. So now what I can do is I can replicate the Derby stores, and I can go, and if I just go back to this beast here, I can take the Derby store, go and find Derby here, and I can replicate those for a week, and then I can start replicating the weeks. So somewhere around here, there we go. There's the Alfreton store. So I can go to session management, copy that wherever Derby's gone. There it is. So now, and let's say it's not 2300 there, let's say it is 1800, let's say, and that starts at 09. So it's different hours at that one. So now when I've got it configured up the way that I want it, I could also remember put a member of staff on it, but we can leave that till later. Remember, you can decide whether you want the members of staff on it, but we know we've got no staff on it. So if I now go to select copy dates, I'm copying that one, and I can say I want the Friday and the Saturday. Actually, that's silly because that's September. And I can go to the next month, and I can say, now I've already got one on the 1st, so I need to go there, 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 and there. And that's 1 month done for me. and I can copy to the selected dates, and then I can show you the replication for dates there, and we can go back to mass change. We are session replication. So now I can pick all the ones that are in Alfreton, and I tend to use like that, so they all show up nice and easily. In some systems, you can also search on the actual ones that you want, but in this demo system, I can't. So I want to copy. Let's see. I finished all of these on the 30th, so I want to start with the 1st of November, and I want to start basically on Friday, which will be the 5th of November. So if I pick a week, so if I go Friday, and it doesn't matter which, any Friday and Saturday, actually any Friday and Saturday, and I finished on that one there, I should be able to, so that's a Friday and a Saturday, and then I start on the 5th. In fact, I could probably take a few more than that. I could take that Friday and that Friday. Then that will add me 4, but I could also click a whole month. So I'm going to start on the 5th now. Now, a lot of people ask what this is. So the idea here is, let's say you were replicating, you'd won a month from a customer, and they said, we now want you to do phase 2, all the same stores, just copy for the second month. Then what you can do is you can put in, or another one might be, you did the winter one and they loved it, and you could say dash spring. So phase 2. So you can literally just add in something like that as a suffix to the name of all of the shifts that are going through. So I'm going to take those 4 and I am going to click here to replicate them. And then those Alfreton ones will be all down here. So Alfreton, that would be like a DE, I think is DE Derby. Let's just filter the calls here. Perhaps not. I'm not sure what the postcode for Derby was. Can anybody tell me? Liverpool Town Centre. I guess I'd have to go back in and look at the actual project to find that was. But I don't know if Derby will work. Nope. Clearly Alfreton. I'm not sure what the actual locations of those would be, but we can soon find out by having a look at one of them. If we look at any of the sessions, Alfreton SOG, I am looking for DE55. So if I filter that, Control V, then that should filter come out. Oh, don't want that date at all. Oh well, I'm not sure why that filter's not working. It must be something else that I put in there, or maybe I'm just plain in the wrong. No, I'm in the right session. So probably need to just figure that one out. But certainly if I go to the sessions here and have a look at those, then I've definitely got a whole bunch of sessions which will show up here. If I go and look for somebody's bookings and I look for Johnny Tester, for example, I don't know if there's a test person in here. If we look for Johnny Tester in here and we look for available events, then you can see all those Alfreton things become available for this guy to be able to book. And what I can do is I can say he's let's have a look, Alfreton. If I filter those events and then I find what, so that looks like this is a merchandiser event, filter those, and then I can add him to the staff list and role. Whoopsie, staff list and role, that's better. And then he's booked on all of those, so they go from his available events obviously to his bookings, as you can see. So now we've fully booked that whole session that we've got in here, and guess what, for whatever reason it's not behaving itself, but it must be in there somewhere. all those Alfretons, and I'm not sure why they're not there, but there we go. That's live demos for you. Nevertheless, they're definitely in this campaign. I don't know if I need to just refresh it or something. Oh, maybe that's it. Not set. Refresh. There we go. There they are. Fantastic. So now if I put in that DE and filter the calls, then I get those. And you can see there's just 2 that are left that are not booked. So I must have, oh, that will be because on the available events, there is a limit to 1 month to reduce performance. So remember, on available events, it just shows you the month ahead. And if you want to book somebody 2 months ahead on somebody's personal events, you need to just go further than that. So that's 2 or 3 of our scenarios. The other one I was going to show you was site replication. So if we take any one of these shifts, and I'm just going to pick one at random and just show you site replication. So if we take that there and we go to other actions, there is this beast called site replication here. Go on, you blue shoes, where have you gone? Popped up somewhere here. It's popped up on my other screen, there it is. So the way that site replication works is you go to other actions, you go to site replication, and of course at the moment it hasn't got anything that's in there. So I need to tell it which sites to go for. So I do that by having a search. And there's various different ways you can do. You could say I'm looking for all of the CFM stores here, or normally if you close that, you would go with a project reference. So in all of your systems, you'll have various different ways to search for things. So let's just see what project. Remember, if you double click on these fields, that's when you bring up the values. So it looks like there's a Chopper Chips project in here. If I search on that, then I get all of these John Lewis stores and not many others. And that fits with this is the Chopper Chips thing here. And it looks like if we went back a bit, yeah, well, this is good. It looks like there's not many around at the moment, but if we were to go back to about there, then Chopper Chips would have a few more. Nope, Westfield Derby. Oh, this is just the one that I've just literally added before coming on this call. I added a couple of new ones. So the Chopper Chips thing, if I went back to, I don't know, a couple of months. There's only one on there. I should have used this really for session replication, shouldn't I, as a demo? Anyway, we're now copying this one here. So if we go to site replication now, then it's going to look on here and it's going to replicate the site for everything that's in that project code, Chopper Chips 2021. So I'd say site replication. Remember, I've chosen a shift to replicate. Ignoring booking clashes has not been ticked, has not been saved as ticked. So I probably need to go back over here and make sure I don't book whoever I put, Johnny Tester or whoever it was, on loads of locations. So ignore booking clashes, no. Use session rate, that's fantastic. No, I'm not going to use the session rate, I'm going to use the roll rate. So I now go to other actions. What are we doing? Site replication. Okay. Please ensure it's fully configured. Yes, thank you very much indeed. So it's saying, do you want to replicate that shift that you picked on New Blue Shoes to all of these sites here? And I say, yes, please. But I'm not going to copy the staff lists because that would be silly. We have Johnny Tester booked on, I can't remember where it was, but he was booked on there. There's no point in trying to book him into whatever it is, 39, is it? 39 different addresses on the same day. So on the 6th of October, we've got quite a big bash, 39 people going out to all these stores. I don't know if you can do it with less people, if somebody jumps in the car and does 2 or 3 stores a day. So these things are already being added to the list. They're already starting to appear on the staffing app for people to say, oh yeah, I'd be interested in that job. Thank you very much indeed. So already those are appearing on the staffing app. They're appearing in all of the reports. They're bookings which are ready to be booked. And if we go off to any other member of staff, so let's just do a staff search. Let's pick one of these, for example. Barker's 6th of October we want. If we go for a staff search, just pick another random person because I haven't picked enough people. Where's my staff search gone? Oh, that was my staff. There we are, staff search. So if I just pick a bunch of people that know a little bit about merchandising, let's just pick anybody within 30 miles of Crowthorne because we actually have some demo people there. And search. We've got lots of people, which is super. So let's get our friend Michelle being a bit naughty with her, and maybe, yeah, that'll do. So if we go off to her, so this lady here, Michelle, with her strike for being late or whatever it was, let's just check out what she was doing. Doesn't have any notes as to why it was. I'm not sure why she had a strike. But if we go and look at her available events, it looks like, I can't remember where she lives, but it looks like she could do the Bristol gig. Where's near Bristol? None of those places. I can't see anywhere like Avon or Bath, anywhere in Bath. Nope, so that's it, just Bristol. So what we can do is we can pick the merchandiser role, because we know it's a merchandiser role, filter the events. That's the one with the merchandiser role. There's Bristol where she lives, and we can put her on there, and off she goes. Now, likewise, that's going to go on her bookings. Likewise, we can do all the other searches and get all the other people booked on it, which I won't bore you with. So let's go back to our scenarios. Don't bother with those 27 stores for phase 3. Well, that's easy enough. What you can do is you can go back to your search here. And let's say we wanted to get rid of 3 stores. So let's say not Edinburgh. So if you said where the postcode, the postcode is not, so let's say this star, High Wycombe, HP12. So HP12. And there might be 2 stores, so I might put the whole thing in, HP12, 4NW, 4NW. And also, let's say we're not going to have Edinburgh. I think I said, where's Edinburgh gone? EH13SP, Control C, Control V. So let's say, and you do this with 27 stores, and as I've done it with at least one person on the call recently, you will know, oops, I didn't want to say delete there, I would have said not. Lucky that's still on the clipboard and not. So now we have 39 stores. Now we have 36 stores. Or maybe there were 37 stores. I can't remember. It seems to have gone down by 3. Why is that? Maybe there were 2 Edinburghs there or something. Maybe there was a duplicate or something. I'm surprised about that. If I just unknot that. No, there's only 1 Edinburgh. If I knot it and unknot that one, there's only 1 of those. Okay, well, we must have had 38 to start off with. I'm not sure. I thought we had 39. So it might be that there are 39 records, but one of them doesn't have a postcode or something. So not search. There's our 36. We can then give them a new project code. So the project code was something like, whoops, that's postcode. The project code was something like, I think it was, yeah, chop chips. There it is right there. So what we can do is we can give this lot a new project code. So we can multi-select the lot if we wish, go to the site postcode or something unique about that site, continue. We're going to change the sites for those 36 sites. We're going to look for project code, and we're going to change that to, for the sake of an example, training day, it's 29th today, isn't it? I think it's 29th, I'm not sure what day it is. So there's our project code. There we go. This could be something like, phase 3 or whatever you wanted to call it. So I don't even know why I'm doing that. Add to selected items. Control C. I don't even need to make. Yeah, I'll make that not available option, and then choose that, and then add. Oopsie, and then save. There we go. So now if I hit go, these 36 will be updated. And now if I close this search up, if I clear this search, and if I go to these, the project code here and put in, there we go, there's training 29th September, and search on that, I will get the same 36 stores. So that's how you would do site replication the next time to build that up. Remember, it could be 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever after the first time you did it. We'd like you to get 30 more people on Saturday as another staffing company has pulled out. Well, that's easy enough. You just create a bunch more slots. You just change the actual number of people required on those roles. Sorry, discovered. Right, we're now getting on to mass change. So let me just take you through mass change here. Now, to get on with mass change, it's not the same as replication, really. So where we start here is with, if I go back to the dashboard, we start with an event that we want to do a mass change on. Now on the John Lewis event, or let's go for new blue shoes again, because we've got some things stretching out in the future. On this event, we might want to mass change, let's say, the Derbys and the Liverpools, and we might want to go and mass change those if we go and let's say I'm going to show you how to change the rate and change the role name and also the hours all in one go. So in other actions, again it's popped up somewhere else, we go to mass change. Now in mass change you can delete the ones you want to choose. You can, where's it popped up? Come along, somewhere else on here. Oh, that's rude of it. There it is it here? So here are the things that we can't change because they've already been put through payroll and stuff. So I'm going to say date range from, let's say tomorrow, and filter the sessions again. Now, what I can do is I can change the client rates, or I can change the staff rates, or I can move the sessions. So I could take all of those, and they might say, we don't want it done this year, we want it done in the spring. So I could literally take 20 of these sessions, or the whole lot, or just this week, or whatever, or just the ones in Alfreton, and I could move them to start on the 1st of September or the 1st of December instead of the 1st of November or whatever. So that's moving. The really interesting thing is updating roles. So what we can do is we can say merchandiser is now to be called a merchandiser 75 for whatever reason. You could even spell merchandiser correctly. You could say, instead of getting an hourly rate, which they were having before, we're going to give them a daily rate of, you guessed it, 75. And no hourly rate, and the times are going to change. They have to do their demonstrations between 09:00 and, let's say, 17, something like that. And we could set all the shift times on that as well. We could also say they get their staff rates. Now, staff rates are rates which you've given to specific staff. So you could have a member of staff that's very good and she gets £12 an hour, and you've got somebody that's just joined you and is very junior and he gets £10 an hour. And you can put that in the employee details for that person. So you could have hundreds of staff who have special rates, and you could say they're going to get their special rates, not the rates that are set for this particular role. We're not going to pay everybody 10 quid. We're going to reward the good people, and the other people can stretch to that. So you can then say absolutely everybody's going to have that, or you can say it only starts from, let's say, I don't know, halfway through October. Get rid of a few of those, or you can say it's only for the Alfreton ones and so on. So it might be that the budget comes out and it says it's got to change from the 1st of April 2022 or something. But anyway, let's say we're starting from the 6th. Anything after the 6th There we go. Let's keep it easy, Rick. Stop clicking. So then you validate the role changes, and it's going to check, obviously, that you can do that. So it could well be. What's he complaining about? I don't think he's complaining about anything. There we are. Validate role changes. Yes. So click on there. And that should set off and validate them. There's no bookings. There's bookings on there. Why is it not validating them? It needs to check that time and other things haven't been changed. Oh, that's the role that we want to change. That was a bit stupid of me. Remember, you could have multiple roles on here. So basically, we're saying for the merchandiser role, do this. But it could be that you've also got a point of sale installer role or a guard role or 3 other roles that are working on various shifts. So off it goes validating, checks that they're all okay. It's now going to validate the session times. It's happy with those. They're all going to shoot through. So basically, before it does mass change, it makes sure that everything's okay. So that's all done. And then once you've done that, you can update the roles. So now if we pick any one of those roles after, what did we say, the 6th? So if we pick this role here on the 9th, for example, and we look at what this guy's getting paid, now you can see he should be on a day rate of 75. Maybe it hadn't hit him yet. He's a merchandiser. That role should have certainly updated. It's certainly taken him from 17, and that's still 17 to 23. He's definitely a merchandiser. Let's go back and do that again. Oh, interesting. Maybe that's one of the ones. What date's that? That's the 9th of the 10th. I need to go and find out why that was. Am I even on the right? I'm pretty sure I'm on the right one. Oh, this is still tracking along. Day rate 75, 9 till 1700 is what we're looking for. Let's go back in and check him out again. Let's pick the 6th, payroll. That's better, 75 quid. So it was just tracking through. You'll notice also the Kiko times here. They won't affect this unless you've got some business rule written in to say if somebody's half an hour late, as far as we're concerned, they only get half their day rate. I was speaking to quite a few customers where it's absolutely critical for people who turn up on time, because the person who opens the door to them to go in and get their demonstration tables and things do not want to go back down to the door if they've let people in at 8. They don't want to traipse through 5 stories and go down and open the door for one person that's turned up at 20 past 8. So it's really important that they turn up on time. They're there 5 minutes beforehand to be let in, and they're not a minute late. And 20 minutes is obviously a cardinal sin because of the effect that it has on the client. Health and safety is the same thing. You know, sometimes we had a situation when we were running the Accelerate Triathlon when the ambulance turned up late and we'd already had an injury and we had to stop the whole flipping event because they just hadn't got up early enough. Right, so going back to scenarios, we've been through all of these now. We've been through changing wages, changing the role name, although I gave a real life role name change through political correctness and stuff. The fact is there are all sorts of reasons you'd want to change the name, the amount per hour, and various other parameters of that role. And of course, you'll saw client rate mode in there so that you can change the actual invoice amounts. So I'll just finish off with a couple of edge cases. The client wants to do it in 10 more locations. Well, what you do is you just get those 10 locations, use the importer to put them in, add them to the project number, and then just do site replication again on one of the sites. Simples. You did such a good job last September at the Fresh Affairs. We would like you to do it again this year. If it was on the 30th of September last year, for example, it might be on the 29th of September this year. I get my dates mixed up, but let's say it started on a Friday for the weekend. it might start on a slightly different. So when you copy it to a date that's relevant for this year. So let's say it was a 1 week event and it starts on a Friday and it finishes on a Monday. You just make sure it starts on the right time when you copy that whole event. So that's it really. That's the end of the end of the trainings. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I really appreciate it, especially some of you guys that have been right through it with us. I'm sorry this one ran on for 48 minutes today, but I think it's an important labor saving tool. And if you need more functions added to mass change, we add functions to it all the time. The mass changing functions that you saw on there, I've definitely seen lots more whizzy buttons on some customer sites. And of course, there are some customers that don't use roles, they only use shifts, and they have different forms of mass changing when they roll 1 week to the next or 1 month to the next. But hopefully you'll see all of the tools that you need to do the mass changes that you need for your business in there. And once again, thank you very much indeed for listening.